You know, a wise man once said you either eat a hero or digest long enough to become a villain. Willow, if it seems as though at any point in this show I am just dying to get out of here, it's because I am. My baby is going through the sleep regression of the century, and so we have no idea when he might wake up, and it's a miracle that he even went to sleep now. And we're recording this an hour later than usual, so whatever banter you've got, make it quick.
I don't have too much interesting for you this week, but I do want to say that I have started watching the new show from Martha Stewart and Jose Andres, yes, Chef on Peacock. And it's okay. I'm enjoying it so far, but I don't think it's gonna get more than like 3 seasons.
Really? So you're saying
Yeah.
it's mid?
No, I'm not. That's derogatory now. I think it's like a 6 out of 10. It's enjoyable to watch. I think the gimmick is fun, but it's just not gonna take off like something like Chopped or anything like that. I don't think it has the potential, even with the star power of the two of them hosting.
Is it like Worst Cooks in America where they're obviously hamming it up, where it's just like, oh, I'm so angry all the time?
It definitely feels that way. There's one guy in particular on there. His name is Katsugi, and he was actually on Top Chef 20 years ago and was known for being a jerk back then. And I actually dug up some Reddit posts about him, and that suggests that he is actually indeed quite a jerk in real life. So it has been interesting to watch. I have not seen his season of Top Chef, but I can't wait to go back and watch that after seeing him on here. It's been fun. I don't think it's a groundbreaking show, but it's entertaining.
Yeah, well, if you make it through the season and feel as though you've enjoyed yourself, I will give it a watch because I've grown weary of Top Chef with Miss Kish at the helm, and I don't see myself hanging on to that, even though it's a pillar of the cooking media landscape. It's just not hitting anymore.
Yeah, I think it's been going on so long that it's just kind of beating a dead horse at this point, and we need new fun ideas. I just don't know if this particular one is going to take off.
Well, speaking of transitions to new and interesting media, what's in the headlines today?
Demery Ardell Wilson of Houston, Texas, is suing Whataburger for negligence over an incident last summer where he consumed a burger containing onions despite his request for none, leading to a severe allergic reaction. The lawsuit, filed just last month, seeks damages between $250,000 and $1 million. This incident follows the dismissal of a similar lawsuit that Wilson filed against Sonic last year for a comparable allergic reaction.
I know there's very little information on this story, but do you know why the lawsuit against Sonic was dismissed?
I believe it was just for not having enough evidence, similarly to how this one seems to be going.
Yeah, I saw this news story come across my desk, and I was about to make, or I was preparing to have to make some concessions regarding the safety and quality of my beloved Whataburger. You can tell just by how I stumbled over my words, how the thought has never even crossed my mind. But the more you talk about it, the more it just sounds like this guy's trying to make a bag, as they say. I only know one person who is allergic to onions, but then I thought about it and I was like, I don't know if she's actually allergic or if she just hates them. I texted her this morning and I said, what was it? Onions that you're allergic to? You just don't like them. She just doesn't like them. She's allergic to corn and hates onions. So, do you know anybody with an onion allergy?
Certainly nobody that I can think of off the top of my head. When I did some Googling, onion allergies, especially fatal anaphylactic ones, are very, very rare. I do know that there are lots of people that avoid like alliums for reasons related to like IBS or a low FODMAP diet and things like that. There's certainly people that have reactions to them, and that's totally valid. And even reactions severe enough that you would call them an allergy. But and maybe I'm just a jerk, everyone can tell me in the comments here, but I think he's faking it. I mean, twice in like 2 years that you have had this lawsuit, and then you went immediately from one directly into another. And I think that if your allergy is real, then
Victim blaming, boo, tomato, tomato. I would say, it's not that uncommon for somebody to like leave ketchup on your burger when you ask for it not to have any. So it's not like it's bizarre that he would get onions twice in a row. It's just like what lack of evidence was there? Like we can believe that it happened, just not that it's a legally actionable offense.
yeah, and like I would think that if the onions were on this burger in like a normal amount, which all of these articles are phrased as saying he received onions on his burger anyways, which makes it sound like there's, a little pile of diced or sliced onions on there, which You would think that if you have a severe allergy and you asked for something to be left off your food, that you would probably inspect it every time that you ordered food out. That sounds logical to me. And then you would see it. And in that case, the other option would be that there is just a very small, minute amount of onion that made it into that burger, but then his reaction was so severe on that small amount, in which case I would think there would be enough evidence.
I guess I have two speculations about this from the opposite end of how charitable we want to be about him. Like, it could just be that he's one of these people who took a fringe food allergy test from a tech startup where you like mail your doo-doo in the mail. And I've done that before. So, I'm not above this person if he did do that. And, the test comes back and it's like, you have a sensitivity to red bell peppers. I'm pretty sure that whole thing was a scam, but I know, a lady in my life who did it and had a sensitivity to chicken. And she went through the day saying like, oh, I'm allergic to chicken. Like, I think not scientifically, but colloquially, the way that we talk about food sensitivities and allergies has kind of strayed and become less productive. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, I can imagine this being the sort of guy who's like, well, what if I wear a dress? I can use whatever bathroom I want. Like, he's like, I just hate onions so much that what if I was allergic to them? Then I'd be able to sue you. Like, his understanding of morality and his morality and justice is completely rooted in the text of the law, or at least his interpretation of it.
If it is the latter there, then that's just like a belligerent jerk. But if it is the former, I think that there is really a conversation that needs to be had about people who say that they have allergies when they just have a specific diet or a not that serious food sensitivity. Again, maybe this is just my week to be a jerk. I don't know. But having worked in the industry, if you are telling somebody that you have an allergy that is very serious when it is not very serious, or you just don't like something, you are then putting people who do have like really severe or anaphylactic allergies in danger because, a lot of times, I've worked with young kids who didn't quite understand these things. You don't have to be Serve Safe certified to work at a fast food joint or a mom and pop restaurant to serve up these food to people. You might not be allergen trained. And, if a young kid thinks that, oh my God, all these people with gluten sensitivities, everybody just doesn't want to eat bread. Everyone thinks bread is going to make them fat. That's why they don't want this. They might not take an order where someone has celiac quite as seriously. And I've seen examples of that in my life.
Yeah, I think we've reported on this several months ago. The guy who changed the Disney parks, restaurants menus, and now he's going to jail. We ought to figure out a way to like follow up on stories because maybe we'll do like a supplemental video once a week, so it's not just the main show. But somebody who's good at media production, not the professional YouTuber, figure that out for me, please. But yeah, that guy's going to jail, and I don't know. There's just something about, I feel like it's a we've all been there moment, or at least we've seen enough viral clips of something like this happening where somebody's getting so mad at a service worker that their behavior is so severe that they end up hurting themselves. And, regardless of whether this guy is really allergic to onions or faking it or whatever, this is one of those tales. Like, this guy's legal fees are about to be so insane, following up the Sonic lawsuit with this one, and it's almost certainly going to get thrown out. So my thoughts and prayers are with him regardless.
The way that these lawsuits are happening back to back, it's very strange to me because that either seems to say like, yes, this is really serious and I'm so serious that I am going to pursue this when it happened to me again, even though it didn't work last time, or that this guy just has the disposable income to go through all these legal fees just for the hell of it.
Well, he saves so much money because he eats all of his meals at fast food restaurants, so he's been building up a big bank to become litigious.
It's just very strange. It's giving like Wendy's chili finger or something.
Oh, I'm not even going to ask.
Do you not know about the Wendy's chili finger?
Is that lying about there being a finger in your chili?
Yeah.
No,
it was
not
like
familiar.
Oh my God, it was like a huge scandal in the early 2000s. I mean, God, I was probably like 8 years old, but I still remember it. A woman planted a finger or a fake finger or something in her chili, and it was a whole big thing. But
the only food
I'm not here to report on
about,
20-year-old news.
Right. Yeah. The only 20-year-old food scandals that I know about before this show was started is Burger King foot lettuce.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Good. Now we're even.
TGI Fridays is undergoing a major overhaul, altering over 85% of its menu in hopes to revive the brand after its 2024 bankruptcy. The chain has seen a dramatic decline in the last 2 decades, with the number of U.S. locations plummeting from 600 down to just 85. This overhaul aims to draw in younger, TikTok-savvy diners with visually appealing drinks and creative twists on classic appetizers, hoping to generate social media buzz, not unlike their major competitor, Chili's.
So when you go and read this article, it all sounds really good. It sounds like a good strategy, but then you look at the menu, you look at the changes that they made, and watch me do my Gen Z impressions. You say, oh, that's not like, look at the Long Island iced tea. It is called the Elite, but the L-I-T are capitalized because it's presumably lit. But that doesn't come through when you say it out loud. And there's an old fashioned called a new fashioned. Cool. There's a margarita called the Fry-Yay, but Fry-Yay is a phrase that's like retired to old people graphic tees. Also, Fry-Yay is trademarked, so you know that they're putting their whole like Fridussy into this branding. So I don't see it working.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I don't see this working for more than like a hot second after the new menu comes out. Some people will be curious and want to go check it out. But beyond that, it really feels like they are just trying to copy Chili's like very directly. And I don't think that that can work out, especially for a brand that doesn't really have a super solid brand identity. Like, did you know that TGI Fridays, their original like shtick was that they were supposed to be like a place for hot young singles to meet?
Oh, no. But
Yeah, bizarre.
yeah. Hmm.
And now they have like kind of a sports bar vibe to them. At least that's what I picture. I've been to a TGI Fridays one time outside of an airport, and that was it.
Again, with the Gen Z slang here, you cannot say that they are copying Chili's. You should roll with me here. You say the mozzarella sticks are reheating Chili's nachos. By the way, that is true. They are like a similar shape, but less distinct. Like Chili's really went all in on their shape. Also, the Fridays mozzarella sticks are like coated in sauce like Chili's, but like sloppily and yuckily, even in the hero shots. It's not like they're glazed like a nice, Korean fried chicken or Nashville hot chicken. It's just like kind of like a sports bar chicken wing where it's like pooling in the bottom of the plate. It just doesn't seem like it's going to work.
Yep, I know the exact photo you're talking about. It was sitting in a little puddle and it looked yucky. I do think that the flavors sound good. I mean, they're buffalo, garlic parm, and I think like a bourbon barbecue or something like that. And it sounds good. I personally think that a mozzarella stick coated in sauce sounds soggy and kind of bad regardless. Um, the thing that I found interesting is that I thought that TGI Fridays was like the mozzarella stick people because they sell the frozen ones at the grocery store. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but those have been around for quite a while.
I've seen their potato skins in the grocery store and also like in potato chip format. So I thought they were the potato skin guys.
Yeah, like they kind of had like a monopoly on that sort of bar food. And when I first saw the Chili's mozzarella sticks like going viral, I was like, oh, those look like those packaged TGI Fridays ones. And now it's the snake eating its own tail. It's like all the same thing.
It's so interesting to me. I wonder how many other people are going to be like, I thought TGI Fridays whole thing was X, because when I was 13 years old and I was thinking about this, as you were saying, did you know back in the day, TGI Fridays' whole claim to fame was, I thought you were going to say freshness, because I remember I wanted to go to TGI Fridays so bad that I like begged my parents to take the family there for my birthday. I'd never been to one and it was probably really far away, but it's truly the only time I ever remember going there for the specific burger that they were advertising. And I think it was just a bunch of TV ads that got me wanting it so bad. But even at that really young age, I remember going through the menu and being like, is anybody else noticing how like 30% of the menu text is just the word fresh? They like overused the word fresh so much that even me as like a preteen was like, this is kind of uncomfortable. You guys need to chill out with fresh.
That is wild that you can have that example from so far back. It really feels like they've this whole time been trying to like figure themselves out unsuccessfully, and that's why we've seen that number go from 600 to a measly 85. I think that most people that would find this stuff appealing and go there would probably just go to Chili's rather than TGI Fridays. So if you don't have a Chili's near you, I think that's really only the people that will go and get these specials. I will say that they did come out with like a value meal section of the menu that is very affordable And I think that, if anything, is going to be the thing that creates a little bit more buzz for them or gets more people in there. Like, there's a $10 cheeseburger, fries, and drink combo, and like a burger at Five Guys with fries and a drink costs like twice that these days.
Yes, but there's also a 2 for $20 deal at Applebee's where it's like 2 burgers and 2 sides and also a dessert if you're choosing, or an appetizer, and you get the drinks there. So it's just like, yeah, they're kind of making the right push, but against the behemoths of like Applebee's and Chili's, I think this is a David in the David and Goliath situation.
I also think that they're just making some weird choices in like the way that they're naming some of these things on their menu. They have the big queso energy burger, and
Uh,
I think that we need to stop with the big blank energy anything. I'm sick of it.
Right.
Uh
This is the same thing as all the stuff that I was talking about. It's like this isn't attracting a younger generation. It's just very much like how do you do fellow kids branding that everybody's going to see through very easily.
yeah, it's like a keep calm and carry on. That's the same vibe that this all has. And another thing is that they in this article they made a point to talk about how they have like a new signature sauce called TGI sauce, which is just, thank God it's sauce, and like I sure hope it is. I don't understand why they would name it that.
Okay, listen up. TGI Fridays. I am in touch with the Gen Z and the media and getting things going viral. What you have to do is start a big fake controversy where people are demanding to know what the G stands for. Does it stand for God? Does it stand for gosh, goodness, golly, gracious, girls? We're changing God to girls. Can you imagine the people from both sides who would be fighting over this and then getting you in the news? Listen to me, please. This is how you get attention in the online economy.
I think that might be the best idea you've ever had.
Thank you. Period. Slay.
Chobani has acquired Daily Harvest, a plant-based frozen meal company, marking a significant step in its strategy to diversify beyond dairy products. This acquisition comes a few years after Chobani expanded into non-dairy offerings and will allow the brand to expand even further into a growing market of healthy, ready-to-eat meals, leveraging its manufacturing and distribution capabilities. This move follows their recent investments of over $1 billion into new and existing production facilities, showing that Chobani doesn't plan on slowing down anytime soon.
I was about to say that Chobani hasn't had any hits since, one, their rebrand, which like changed graphic design forever, and two, Chobani flips. But then you noted that they acquired La Colombe, the coffee company, and now I understand why it was always on sale at the grocery store for like buy one get two discounts last year. So I don't know. This could be my flyover state mentality, but I thought that La Colombe was like a super aspirational brand, like Blue Bottle, and I thought that I was just getting it for really affordable prices out of luck and timing, but. Can you imagine what a perfect happy ending for the Daily Harvest brand if they met the same fate? One of my first big breakout hits was a hit piece on Daily Harvest on my main channel on YouTube. I think it's overpriced. It's mailed directly to the customer. You still have to go to the store to buy the milk or the alt milk that you use in their smoothies. But if these are sold in the grocery store at realistic prices, then that solves most of their problems. You still have to buy milk, but then you could be at the milk getting place when you get your Daily Harvest already. And then they could do that little hang tag coupon thing, like when you get a bottle of whiskey and it's like $2 off a 6-pack of ginger ale, you can give a discount on the milk. I like the idea.
Well, I'm going to throw a wrench in what you just said a little
No,
bit.
no.
Daily Harvest has been in grocery stores for like 2 years now, before this acquisition. They've been selling like ready-to-eat like meals and smoothies that you can buy at the store, so there.
But were they fairly priced? Maybe.
Probably not, is my guess. But that is, they have been doing that. But I do think that's something that I found interesting in this article that they noted was that Chobani is kind of expanding their catalog to the whole day. Like they've got breakfast stuff down with like yogurts, and they got the oat milk now and the coffee creamers. They have the canned coffee beverages, and now if they're expanding into like ready to eat meals, people who might have like a particular affinity or brand loyalty to those other companies might be like, oh, then this product is also of a quality that I have a certain association with. And it's like incorporating your company, your brand into as many slots of somebody's day as possible, which I think is an interesting sort of like marketing strategy.
Yeah, and I think they certainly started to do that when they were like, we're not just breakfast smoothies, we're also lunch bowls with quinoa and lentils. And then somebody got like terribly sick, or a bunch of people got terribly sick off of their food. And it's just like, oh, never mind, we don't know how to do that. And so this is the sort of stuff that you benefit from being acquired by a gigantic multinational corporation. Like, yes, maybe they were in grocery stores already, but maybe they couldn't get the right pricing or they didn't have the right relationships. I know grocery stores are like, notoriously cutthroat place to be. So I could see this, working out for them. And if it becomes so ubiquitous that people are like, oh yeah, I'm a Daily Harvest person, in the same way that they're like, I'm an Amazon person, I get 10 packages per day, or like what Soylent meant to be, where it's just like this brand fuels me all day, or even the store brand, like, oh, I buy Private Selection from Kroger because the price is good and I know the quality is probably good enough. Like if Daily Harvest can reach that point, not just at yogurt and smoothies, but like all across your day, like it could work out. I'm not often optimistic, but this is one of those times.
I think this is maybe the second or third time that Soylent has come up on this show, and I'm gonna take a quick aside here and gotta say, I think I might be the only person I've ever met that genuinely liked and drank a lot of Soylent.
Wow.
I was a big Soylent gal. That's actually how I discovered your content years ago.
Insane.
Is that
Wow.
original, like, I drank Soylent for a week or something video.
The Willow Snark Reddit page is going to go crazy with this news.
Oh god. That would be, like, an honor. Are you kidding me? I feel like the more people are mad at you on the internet, the better you're doing.
This is how I know you're still new to the game. Give it time.
All right, I have some interesting new products for you this week. We have Twang Hot Pickle Salt, Corn Nuts Partially Popped Crunchy Corn Kernels, and Yancey's Fancy Pabst Blue Ribbon Beer Infused Cheddar.
The Twang hot pickle salt and PBR cheddar are very tame and sensical, to be honest. Like Twang salt is a classic. I'm familiar with the brand, and it only makes sense that they would add spice and also like a nod to a trendy food item that's having quite the moment. Beer cheese is pretty common. I feel like beer cheese isn't that all weird or out there. And so making a deal with PBR specifically is a fun collab, and it's not too impactful. But is there anything that you want to say about these two before I talk about the one that I'm actually interested in?
I don't have too much to say about the pickle salt, except that I'm so sick of pickle flavored everything. Stop making pickle snacks. This
Oh,
is
we're not even
worse.
close to peak pickle.
This is worse than when everything was everything bagel flavored. I hate it. And also, what are you using pickle salt for except for a Bloody Mary and popcorn?
I don't think that you're on the right track with that one. I think the pickle freaks are going to put pickle salt on anything and everything.
As far as the cheese goes, I know that I'm the notorious cheesehead here on the show, but get the PBR cheddar away from me. I drank far too much of that stuff in my early 20s. I do not want it in my cheddar cheese. They could collab with an actually good company.
What? It's not nostalgic for you?
I don't want to taste that ever again, man, and I'll probably gag.
Yeah, right. Cut to you playing cheese pong like 3 weeks from now with this stuff.
Oh no.
Although before I do want to say before we move on from the pickle salt, have you had any time to reconsider my hot dog forecast? That hot dog is the new bacon. I've been DMing you a lot of evidence on Instagram.
Yes, the most recently being 2 hot dogs being cooked in a steamer basket, which I'm not gonna lie, that is kind of genius. I bet that bun is delicious and fluffy. But also to that I just say, the hot dog is American Bao.
I am realizing now that I might not have you added as a friend on TikTok because I just saw a bunch of wooks, those like evil hippie types at raves, smoking about 15 hot dogs laid end to end as if it was a giant bong on a party table where one person was on one end and the other person was lighting it. So if that was the last thing I sent you and that was the biggest escalation, like hot dogs being steamed as if they're Chinese bao, I've been slacking because I've got a lot more evidence for you.
Oh my god. Is that evidence? What does that prove? No one's eating that hot dog.
Yeah,
I hope
you
not,
haven't
at
met a
least.
wook.
Like, I mean, it's not that far from, I guess, the old Apple trick, but I don't know, man. Bringing a new meaning to smoked meats.
Very good. So I do think that everyone has like a personal handful of stories that they tell way too frequently, and the people around them who are close to them are like tired of hearing them. And so one of mine is always going to be the time that somebody from E&J Gallo came to my ASU business class to talk about vertical integration. E&J Gallo makes fancy wines, and they also make boxed wines, but sometimes the harvest of the fancy grapes is so plentiful that the good fancy wines get packaged in the budget brand containers. So there's always a small non-zero chance that your box of Franzia is actually full of high-priced wine from a different Gallo brand. And this is how I look at innovations like extra toasted Cheez-Its and partially popped corn nuts, as well as the entire product category of half popped popcorn from nuts.com. I choose to believe that these companies have quality control systems in place to remove the Cheez-Its that are burnt or the corn nuts that didn't puff properly, and also the good business sense to integrate the rejects as its own product.
I think that that is a great way of going about it for any company. I mean, it's really not even that different from, say, like normal cooking or working in a restaurant. You work with what you got and you make something out of the leftovers. I had never heard of the half popped popcorn, so when I found this corn nuts product, I was like, "Oh, this is a cool new thing." Um, Now you're telling me that it actually exists already and it's not that exciting, except for that it's like a new branded thing.
Well, are
Um,
popcorn and corn nuts the same thing? I never really thought about
no.
it that way. Okay, right.
Corn nuts, I believe, are like deep fried, like corn kernels. But there's no indication that this is like a popped corn nut necessarily. It just says like partially popped crunchy corn kernel. So it might just be half pop popcorn.
No, have you ever eaten corn nuts?
Well, yes, but I don't know that this product is itself. It just is from the Corn Nuts company because it's like a brand name Corn Nuts as well.
My understanding is that this would be like the corn nuts that they tried to fry and puff up, but didn't properly. Like the ones that you would get in the bag at the bottom that are like the rejects that are too crunchy, sort of like a half popped popcorn at the bottom of the bag where you're just like, ugh, that's going to hurt my teeth. But some people like it, right? Am I understanding this properly?
Maybe. I mean, I obviously have not had a chance to eat this. My assumption initially, before you even told me about the half pop popcorn, was that this was just like a similar product coming from the same company, not like a popped corn nut itself. But maybe it is. In which case, it probably tastes different. It's probably pretty good.
Well, this is going to be one of those very rare things that it seems as though both of us are going to be putting on our to try list to find out. I saw a TikTok, speaking of last week's material, of somebody excited to try the frozen grapes from the grocery store who costs $8 a bag. And so I'm just like, dang, there's suckers really out there. So you never know who's going to succeed and who's going to fail.
It's not just one sucker. Those frozen grapes are so popular, dude. You have no idea.
What? Really?
Dude,
Oh,
yes,
no.
Fruit Riot's huge. There was like a thing a couple months ago where I saw something that someone was saying about like Tana Mojo popularized them. Like she was talking about them a lot, and then they suddenly blew up. I don't know, but my biggest takeaway from this is that did you know half pop popcorn kernels are called Old Mates?
No. Neat fact.
Fun fact, guys. I will
Is it
say
because
though,
nobody wants them typically?
yes,
Oh, how
exactly.
terrible.
Yeah. Um, I will say though, I think as far as the Cheez-Its example you gave, I don't think that those are just rejects that are being repackaged
La la la
because
la 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 la.
the burnt or the extra toasted Cheez-Its were like I feel like they were like a memed thing for like a long time before they were like its own product where people were like, I like the burnt ones. And
Mhm.
they just sort of capitalized on that where they were like, sure, we'll overcook them for you.
Yeah, and I'm completely open to the notion that like anytime I apply this way of thinking to a business decision, it's totally wrong. That's why I mentioned that everyone has a handful of stories that they tell way too frequently. I think anybody who listens to a lot of Scott Galloway business news knows that he likes to talk about how Old Navy was a great business because it was 80% of the gap at 50% of the price. And now I've heard him like half a dozen times use that same explanation to describe other non-related business moves. And so the Gallo wine vertical integration story is my version of that habit. I will apply it whenever I can.
Out of all of these products, I would definitely say the only ones that I'm remotely interested in trying are the corn nut ones, mostly out of curiosity, not a snack that I would generally go for. Um, However, I do think all of these like items flavor-wise kind of sound like they would work together. Like it feels like you could put them all out on like a cheese board or a snack board.
Why are you so interested in getting me off of the vertical integration story? I want to talk about vertical integration more. You got to talk about how we're going to vertically integrate this show into shorts and TikToks and Reels as syndicated. I'm fully bought
We're
into the
peeling
idea
back
that
the curtain too much. We got to close it. No.
no, we need to act like real influencers because last week when we said please subscribe, we went from like 10 people a week subscribing to like 200. It works every time. I'm completely throwing all of my morals and assumptions out the window, and We're gonna be full on influencers now. So get ready. It's about to get annoying.
Everybody like, subscribe, hit that bell, comment down below if you thought I was a jerk this episode.
And we'll see you next week. That was a really
Bye,
bad way to
guys.
Oh gosh, I need practice.
Thumbnail face.
Eater's Digest is published every Friday on YouTube, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. You can also get a text-based version delivered to your email every Friday at patreon.com/shack.